Dianna Sanchez is the not-so-secret identity of Janice Amina, author of the Enchanted Kitchen series of middle-grade fantasy novels. A Hispanic geek originally from New Mexico, she now lives in the Boston area with her husband and 2 daughters. Dianna, over to you.
Yes, I will be reading from An Elf's Equations, the third in a series including Witch's Kitchen and A Pixie's Promise, and I will be giving away a first edition copy of A Witch's Kitchen to folks in the US or an EPUB version to folks overseas. And I'm just going to read from the first chapter. Here we go. Sagara crept through the sylvan veil easily, even though it was the middle of the night and she was only 5 years old. It helped that she had the route memorized. She counted her steps, 57 steps to the next beech tree, its inhabitants sleeping peacefully in the branches above her. Then 38 steps to a great oak tree. Then another 41 steps brought her to the edge of a meadow. The moon shone brightly, filling the meadow like a bowl filled with milk. Elves stood in a ring on the edge, quiet but uneasy, shifting from foot to foot in their formal robes. Sagara could not see over or through them, but she knew someone stood in the center of the ring. No crickets or frogs sang, no owl or banshee shrieked. The silence worried her. Even the trees were quiet, and their stillness had nothing to do with the lack of wind. They leaned in, observing. Everyone was so intent on the figure in the center that no one noticed a little elf out of bed and slipping between the tall adults until she found the person she was looking for. Coming up behind him, she tugged on his robes. "Kieran," she whispered. Her brother, 12 years older, turned, his eyes widening when he saw her. "Sagara," he hissed, "you shouldn't be here. Why aren't you in bed?" "I want to see," Sagara said. "How did you get past Aunt Nanda? I thought she was watching you." "Easy," Sagara told him. "I just climbed down the home tree." Kieran raised his eyebrows. "Arla let you do that?" "Home tree helped me," Sagara told him. Kieran sighed. They both knew Arla, their home tree, had a soft spot for Sagara. She was forever escaping and dashing off into the enchanted forest, but the trees watched out for her and always made sure she came back home. The trees knew what was happening that night, of course, and they had brought her, or at least not stopped her, nor sounded an alarm. Kieran took Sagara's hand. "Then perhaps you are meant to be here." He pulled her forward, ignoring the disapproving glances of the other elves, and placed her in front of him, where she could clearly see their mother, standing alone in the center of the ring. She wore the simple, brown, unadorned robes of the accused. Opposite her, the elf moot stood just a little forward of the rest of the ring, 5 ancient elves of high standing who would oversee her mother's trial. Sagara spotted her grandmother among them, wearing her most formal robe, so stiff and proper that when she moved, she seemed like a pillar gliding over the moonlit grass. "Lilia ap Arla," Gran said, as though speaking the name pained her. "You are charged with dangerous experimentation and consorting with technology. We have seen the evidence of your transgressions." She pointed to a jumbled heap of twisted metal and wire, so smashed Sagara couldn't even guess what the contents had been. "You have confessed to using them and to dabbling in forbidden magic, and you—" "I did not," Sagara's mother interrupted. A murmur rose in the ring. "You did not?" asked Gran. "We all heard you. You told us of your experiments, of your excursions into the logical realm, and of your transgressive spells." Lilia snorted. "I did not confess because I maintained that I did nothing wrong. There are no laws stating that I may not use technology, no rules forbidding me from the logical realm. Indeed, we send emissaries there on a regular basis to rescue endangered creatures." Another of the moots stepped forward. "There have been no laws against technology because it is a new creation of the logical humans, one we had not realized we needed to shield against." Sagara's mother laughed. "There, you see, I have committed no crime." For one moment, Sagara believed that everything would be fine. Her mother would come home and everything would go back to normal. Gran stomped her foot and the ring fell silent. "You have transgressed," she said. Her voice was soft, but Sagara could see that she was shaking with anger. You have disobeyed our deepest customs and traditions, those that say new magics must be introduced gradually and with great caution. And you have disobeyed our injunctions against traffic with the logical realm. Though we do venture there to perform acts of mercy, every emissary receives the same warning. Do not be seduced by the ways of humans, for they cause the sundering from the world tree and from magic. We don't know that, Mama said evenly. There's no proof. That is not a risk we should ever take, Gran thundered. Mama rocked back on her heels, and even the trees pulled back their outstretched branches. Your unauthorized experimentation puts us all at risk. Anything that might cause the displeasure and disapproval of the world tree must be avoided at all costs. A murmur of approval went up around the meadow. Many of the elves glared angrily at Mama. She rallied. Have you asked it? Mama said. Have you asked the world tree if it disapproves? Have you asked why it chose to withdraw from the logical realm? Don't be absurd, grated another elf of the moot, so old his skin seemed transparent in the moonlight. We would never impose upon the world tree. We are its servants, not its inquisitors. Mama tossed back her long silvery hair. I asked, she said. I went to the world tree and I asked for its approval. What? Preposterous, such arrogance. The entire circle erupted in shouting and disbelief. Kieran clenched Sagara's hand so tightly she lost feeling in her fingers, but she scarcely noticed. Don't you want to know how the world tree responded? Mama called out, and immediately everyone fell silent again. It was amused. I heard no words, but I felt a deep sense of curiosity and interest, not disapproval, not rejection. I took that as permission to proceed. That was the last straw for Gran. You presumptuous, flighty, malicious little twit, she spat at Mama. How dare you address the world tree without permission? You betrayed our trust we placed in you as a guardian. You ignored the rules and defied the moot. How can we trust a single thing you say? Gran spun around and addressed the moot. We must find her guilty, or we set a dangerous precedent. What happens when anyone thinks they can just walk up to the world tree and start asking questions? When anyone can ignore our rules? I charge you, judge her guilty. The ancient elf nodded, guilty, then the next, and the next. The fourth member of the moot, a tiny withered female, said, Your own daughter, Lobelia? Especially my own, Gran replied through clenched teeth. The elf sighed and then said, Guilty then.